Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Alrighty, so I have this new gel plate that I picked up from Blick, I believe. Yeah, Dick Blick Art Supplies. And it is from Speedball. And I used it, I don't know when it was. It's been a week or so. And I wasn't having the best results. So I decided I want to play with it some more because it's new to me. And I don't want to make a judgment based on one use. You know what I mean? So I pulled it out and I am just playing. I have no intent other than just to play, to see what kind of results I get. And yeah, I'm going to keep moving on. So I have this old stamp set from Stampin' Up. I laid down some alcohol ink. And then I'm using the red rubber stamp set to lift some of that ink off. So when I do my gel plate pull, this is essentially like mark making. The stamping is like mark making, but it's very deliberate patterns, right? So we'll see what that looks like here in just a second. And as I make my pull, I want you to know that there will be times when I just have music on and we'll watch the process. But if I feel like something needs to be explained, then I'll be right here telling you what's going on. So that's a pretty cool print. I like the colors, but look at that residue that stays behind on the plate. I'm not liking that, so I'm going to try again. Let's see what we get. Got this big, beautiful stencil from Finnabair and Prima. It's called Iris something. I will have everything linked and listed downstairs as well. So laid it down, made sure that it was having good contact with the plate. Then I put some more ink through the stencil. And then this is where I decided I'm going to pull out my gel plate from Gelli Arts and do a little bit of a comparison. So got the inks down on the Speedball on the right, and then the stencil, and then I put ink through the stencil, and then I lifted the stencil. So I'm doing all of those steps, different stencil, different inks, different colors of ink, but I'm doing all of those steps on the left, which again is the Gelli Arts gel plate. So I let them both dry. It doesn't take long. And then I'm going to go ahead and lift them, rolling out my white acrylic paint. That will be my lifting medium, rolling off on the brayer off page over on the right, and then rubbing them to make sure that everything is lifting properly. And then there is the Speedball print. It's pretty. And then there is the Gelli Arts print, much more vivid, much more detail. Oh, so good. And look again, there's still that residue on the Speedball. So we're going to brayer this paint out again. Let's see what kind of print we can get. Can we get the residue? Is there any residual ink left on there? Yep, so we got some of both, but the residue is still there. So you can see that it's definitely pulling from the same ink. That residue remains. That does not go away. So here I'm using the exact same red ink. You can see it's drying up pretty fast on the Gelli Arts. So I had to put down some more. And then before it all dries, I use this red rubber stamp from Penny Black to again lift some of that alcohol ink. Do that for both of them. You can't really tell much of what's going on. There you can see a little bit of pattern on the Gelli Arts plate. And then when they're both dry, use a little bit more of the white acrylic paint as the lifting medium. Brayer it out nice and smooth and thin. You always want a really thin layer with your lift layer. You want a thin layer all the way along anyway. And again, fresh paper. This is mixed media paper. That is where I took the brayer off page and I sprayed the stamp with alcohol to lift that alcohol ink, and then I stamped it onto the brayer off page. That's what that was. So there you can see a little bit of the stamp, and there you can see some more. A lot of the yellow is still coming through on the Speedball, but much more detail on the Gelli Arts plate. Very different. It's interesting that we're doing the exact same thing and getting such different results. So on the right, I did start with the, what is it called? Alcohol ink blending solution, because I was hoping that that would keep the alcohol ink wet longer and not allow it to soak into the plate, which is what seems to be happening. And I've got this typewriter text red rubber stamp from MFT. Actually, this is gray rubber. But again, with that residual ink, I sprayed the stamp with alcohol, and then I'm lifting that by putting a brayer off page and then just lifting the ink. And it's such a cool effect. So one more time, we're going to use this white acrylic paint as the lifting agent. I'm going to use tags this time. These are from Dina Wakley, and then I have scraps of some very poor quality watercolor card, but still they'll do pulls. And then I'm just going to do my lifting. I'm going to apply firm pressure all the way around, making sure that you make good contact. Those are great prints right there. Great prints. Let's see what happens on the right. A lot of nothing. So the tag is good. That little scrap of watercolor card, not so much. So trying to lift to see what I can get. It's not bad. It's like there's still plenty left there. I decided just to clean them both off. Just spraying them down with water. Wiping them off. I could have taken them to the sink, but I just opted to just clean it right here at the desk. So it didn't take much. Going back to the alcohol ink. Going to brayer everything out. Lay down my stencils again. Make sure there's good contact. More ink through the stencil. Brayer that out. Now, blending solution may have helped on the right for that yellow to get through the stencil a little bit more, but it did okay. Smaller areas, smaller holes. That's going to be good to make prints with later. Again, allow it to dry. Alcohol or the acrylic paint as the lifting agent. Brayer it off. Put down your pull sheet. And in this case, I'm using two. I considered them scraps. They were brayer off or clean off pages, and I wanted to go ahead and use them, see what kind of prints I might get. And that one is stunning. This one's not quite as good, but it's still good. So here I decided I would try to lift some of that excess imagery that was still on the gel plates, just randomly, and it worked fine. The one on the right did not. That's why I didn't even show it. It didn't pull anything. So here's where I'm cleaning off these stencils. They have plenty of alcohol ink left on them. And so I laid down my tag and my, what is that, watercolor card. And I'm spraying all of it with the alcohol that's in that little spray tube in my hand, and just laying the paper down, just pressing it out. And that's what came off on the other side. And then that one I tried one more time. It didn't give a whole lot, but there's a little bit. It's like a ghosting. And then same process with the Finnabair. Sprayed the alcohol ink on the stencil, laid it down on the paper, sprayed this side, laid the tag down. Now I'm just rubbing, trying to make good contact and adding more alcohol ink, or more alcohol to lift that ink. Then I get these great results. I think they're super fun. And there's still plenty of ink, so we're going to do it one more time. Let's see what we get. And then there's still some ink on this stamp. So we're going to do this one more time. Let's see if we can't get some interesting alphabet prints. And there's still a little bit of ink on this Blissful Blossoms stamp as well. So we're just going to keep spraying it with alcohol, and that reactivates that alcohol ink and it gives us neat prints. And then I decided, wow, I'm at it. I am going to run some paste through these stencils as well. Now this tag and the next one, I actually, I didn't keep the footage, but I actually just obliterate this background. Oh, not this one. It was that first one, and then the smaller one that's on the watercolor card. I obliterate that whole background when I add distress sprays over the top. So really seeing that background is moot at this point. And here I'm going to stamp with the paste instead of with ink. All that paste was still gloppy and can still be used, and so I just wet it with a spray bottle of water and just laying it down on this roll-off page. And it just adds another layer of texture and dimension and pattern. It's so cool. I love that. This is the one that I was saying I obliterated this along with the very first tag. And when I say obliterate, like all of this background work just goes away because the colors of distress spray stains that I add to the top are just so bold and bright that you can't see any of that background other than the paste. So here I'm stamping off that paste again, and then this is all of my prints to this point. We're going to go pretty fast first, and then we'll come through and we'll look at them a little bit more slowly. That's quite a few. Quite a few. And then we're going to go in reverse. So this one has become a favorite, as has this one. I really love that. Love the crackle. Yeah, that one and the one on the left are the ones that I put the distress spray stain on and they just get obliterated. This one I absolutely love. That might be my all-time favorite of this whole pile. And then these clean off pages using alcohol to lift that alcohol ink. You get such a neat effect. And then that one I printed with the stencil. And then the tags. This one's gorgeous. Such a good pull. This one's not bad either, but it's just interesting how different it is on the different brand of plate. And remember, some of these are clean off, some of them are roll off, some of them are actual prints. And that, my friends, is all of my pulls and my prints and all of that. Let me know your thoughts downstairs. As always, I invite you to like and subscribe, join my crafty tribe. And in the meantime, y'all, thanks for spending some time with me. This is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah, and I'm out.